Hey, this is Dmitry with Hard Rock Canucks, and today we're taking a look at an interesting watch from a company, Tokyo Flash. Their slogan is to redefine the way you think about time, and that clearly shows through the selection of multiple different and very complicated watch faces. Now, one cool aspect about these models is that they're totally unique in form of design. The concept art is presented and the fans cast their votes. So what we have here is a watch from Kisai series called On Air, which is actually one of the most popular design choices. One thing I was very surprised to find for a watch like that to go for $200, considering it's not a smartwatch, but perhaps its touch interface may change my mind. So let's check it out. The build quality of the actual watch is pretty solid, with stainless steel frame and clean round design that sort of hides its complexity. The glass remains scratch free, even though I've hit it a couple of times, but it's the steel wristband that doesn't impress me. It feels kind of flimsy, it's got a lot of play between the links, and the locking mechanism is also just mediocre, requiring additional force to be properly locked in place. So this was not at all what I was expecting for the $200. Now, before we get into any features, are you able to tell the time from this watch right now? I know it's a little confusing, but the hour hand position represents the actual hour, and the numbers that make up the hour hand are the minutes. So the numbers are quite wide. It's a little difficult in the beginning, but once you realize that those are numbers, it's pretty simple to tell time. So this one here tells us it's 11:18 a.m., while this shows 5:42 p.m. Now, it might be fun to ask your friends to guess the time, but for the week I wore the watch, it was actually quite difficult telling the minutes by quickly glancing at the watch. The contrast between the hour clock and the background isn't much, so you always have to find the right angle to see the numbers correctly. There is a backlight, which is blue, that actually makes it more difficult to see what time it is, so I wasn't really impressed. Now, the LCD does incorporate 4 touch-sensitive areas that individually control the backlight, date, time, and alarm. You slide left to right to unlock the watch, and then presented with these popped up icons. To set the date, you hold the date icon for 3 seconds and use a circular motion to adjust the month that will be told by the location of the hour clock, and the numbers inside to tell you the date. You change the date the same way with the circular motion, and the same goes for adjusting the time of the watch. To set the alarm, you hold the alarm icon for 3 seconds, adjust the hour, and there's a semicircle in the middle. When it's on top, that's your PM, and when it's at the bottom, it's AM. And you set the alarm time the same way as before. It's not the most convenient, it's not the easiest, and certainly the 14-page manual that definitely came in handy. But my main issue with the Kisai On Air is its touch interface. It doesn't always work and requires variable pressures in different zones that I found kind of strange. There is sound feedback that can be turned off, certainly a useful feature knowing when something is registered, but aside from that, it's not seamless navigation and time reading as I was sort of expecting. Now, I can appreciate the uniqueness of this watch, meaning there's a limited number of this exact watch that will be produced, but everything else about this watch contradicts its $200 price. From the mediocre wristband and the clamp to poor backlight and very uncomfortable touch interface. It's very difficult to tell time, not because of how the time is displayed, but because the contrast is so low between the hour hand and the background that makes it quite hard to distinguish. So the value is extremely difficult to justify. But what do you guys think of this concept of complicated time? Is it cool, and would you ever get one? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.